All right, hey guys, what's up? It's Tim with the Juice in your facility programming. I am super excited to be going over the upcoming training and testing cycle for you. We have a testing week coming up. We have our final training cycle of 2018. It's been an absolutely awesome year. And let's dive deep and finish this thing off right. In this video, I'm gonna be going over the upcoming testing week. I'm gonna go over the upcoming testing cycle. I actually do that first, that way testing week makes some sense there. And I'll be going over the yearly end of year schedule and how we're already kicking off everything for 2018. So to start, I'm actually gonna go here and I wanna look over this cycle. It's gonna be a 9-week training cycle, so 3 sets of 3 weeks. That includes our initial testing week. So it's gonna go testing week, and the next 2 weeks will actually flow off of that a little bit, but we'll be rebuilding, and I'll show you how that's gonna work here. But that part will actually be one of the 3-week cycles. The reason is because the end of the year, we go December 10th to 15th will be the end of this testing cycle. So that's an important date. One is that week. The next week's gonna be the end of year testing. So up before some of the big holidays hit, we're gonna do kind of an end of the year best of testing cycle, leave everyone happy with some PRs, a good taste of intensity, because we did the base of support to earn intensity, right, and get them the specific goals they want, whether it's body composition, feeling better about themselves, not being in pain, etc. Those really deep reasons that we know people are coming to you for that are the expressions of their training, right? When they're feeling better, I'll bet you workouts feel a little better, right? So that's gonna be that part. Then we go into what we call like a skeleton week. Over that week, after really Christmas holiday through New Year's, is a pretty low time for most gyms on a couple levels. One, you probably have staff that is off. They may be traveling if they're not full-time staff, or the full-time staff finally can get off. Or hopefully you are able to get off and be gone some. That means that the workouts are designed to be run with a single coach on the floor with, in my experience, some of your members and some drop-ins. And the issue with drop-ins is they're a lot of fun, but many times they go, oh yeah, CrossFit, old hat, I got it. Squat snatch, that's the one that goes here and you pick it from the ground, right? And you're like, oh, wow, okay. So we don't want overly complex workouts at this point. I never want too complex in the first place, but especially for this reason, not overly complex, because if we don't know them, trust is earned. I think that's fair to say, especially in something we do that is so fun and interesting and unique, but also we make sure people earn their reps on every step of it. So there's that part. Then we have the beginning of the year will be the first week back is going to be kind of a base building week, getting people back in. Yeah, they'll get a little dose, of course, but we're not trying to come in and just make them feel like there's no reason they should have came back after being gone. We'll get into that, and then we'll start the new cycle up, and we'll talk about that later. So again, it's gonna go testing week into 3 3-week blocks for this training cycle. From there, it's gonna be on the week 9, December 10 to 15th is the end of this training cycle. It's gonna be a full week of testing. Then we have another week of testing. It'll be different tests, but a chance to fill up the PR board, show people progress as many ways as we can. Body composition, feeling better, looking better, enjoying training, being consistent, all these things that we know keep people in your gym, and having a PR board that is full and people are, again, seeing the personification of their training. Okay, so that's the first part. The next part is gonna be, switch my docs here, looking over these 3 different testing cycles, okay? The first 3 weeks are gonna be built around absolute strength, okay? Functional bodybuilding, we did some on the deload also, especially for the imbalances. They're good because neurologically, it's really hard to like hammer yourself down with single leg RDLs, right? Now, eventually you get those balance and everything and your body works good. Yeah, let's load up some deadlifts, and we'll be doing that because we're gonna be having some tests that we need to have that absolute strength as the base of support to express our power there. That's the first part, and then technical pieces. So what that looks like is one of our movements here we say is squat snatch, right? So snatching is really deadlifting and overhead squatting, right? Yes, there's this little magic contraction in the middle that happens dynamically. It gets the bar there, but if you have a good deadlift and a good overhead squat, we know you have some of the precursors to do that well. So that's gonna be the first cycle, would be focused on getting heavy beds and overhead squat technique. The next portion, yes, there's still strengthening things being done, but it'll be focused a little more on snatch technique and positions. We combine those two things together, what do we have? Squat, snatch, and 1 rep maxes. And so that way we're able to keep the training going good, but it's not just gonna be 9 weeks of snatching, right? We can do that. There's times, especially we're building the skill, we did a lot of power snatching last cycle. Did that, we're gonna move away and build some of the basic parts again, and then build up to full snatches for this one. So that's the first block. The second block, as you see, we say strength, speed, and then combining the pieces together to train them. Okay, so that would really look like, again, let's go for the first part. If we want to work on thrusters, we have thrusters because Fran is one of our tests. Fran is front squat and push press, and then pull-ups, of course. And what is front squat and push press supported by? Back squat and strict press. So the first part, again, absolute strength, back squat, strict press. And then we go into strength, speed, and speed strength movements, right? And if you're unfamiliar with those are in everyone's Google folder with the frequently asked question guide that goes through strength, speed continuum, strength, speed, endurance continuum, and the different energy pieces of how we use them for your facility programming. I try to keep them about 10 minutes in length, so watch those videos, and you should be able to communicate them well of what that means to your members. That's the idea. When you put those things together, front squat and push press together, what do we have? Now we have speed strength movements of a thruster, right, for reps. That's gonna be in that 50% to 25, 30% range for speed strength endurance. That's what thrusters are. Some people say, thrusters gonna get strong. And we have to look at the spectrum and go, okay, this should be a weight to do it for conditioning is actually speed strength endurance. A 1 rep thruster would probably be speed strength, maybe strength speed, depending on the individual. But for a Fran, speed strength. That's okay. We need to get good at speed strength for conditioning. How do we do it? Yes, absolute strength raises, raise the ceiling, improve the technique. Now we train strength, speed, or speed strength. We put the pieces together. Now you're doing front squat, push press, some thrusters a little bit there, wall ball, etc. And now the last couple weeks, we're hammering in thrusters. So people get variety, but we know behind the scenes, we're doing what they need to do. And then over time, it is communicating these values to them creates buy-in. The more buy-in they have, the more longer they're gonna stay. And that's where we wanna go with this. Okay, the third block, like we said, we have absolute strength, strength, speed, speed, strength. Now we have intensity, right? That is gonna be hitting Fran hard, hitting, and not for intervals anymore. It is go, right? It's go time. Again, the intervals help us get better at our pace, help us do the movements really well, and not just get so fatigued we can't do them, right? That we're able to do these things well, and then we put it together. Eventually, it's time to play the game. And right now, for Fran's sake, last cycle we saw Grace, we saw some other workouts, Helen, Jackie. This time it's Fran's turn as one of the testers, and I'll get into all those. And again, you'll see that. We have things like for Fran, we've been doing weighted pull-ups. Weighted pull-ups, we need prone row. That's kind of the absolute strength we could do there. And there's some strict pull-ups, isometric holds we're doing. Into body weight, endurance, and density, meaning we can do a bunch of these into heavy reps, and then into a heavy single or into repetition for intensity would be Fran, right? Doing a bunch of reps or doing a 1 rep max are both expressions of intensity relative to the goal we're trying to accomplish, right? If your goal is to work on intensity for absolute strength, that would be a 1 rep max. That is intensity for that movement. If we're doing it for conditioning for lactic power and lactic endurance, which is where we're going this cycle, then that would probably be Fran. Do these pull-ups and try not to break, right? Or break minimally and get back up there, dude. Okay, again, the cycle dates are out here. You'll have access to this. October 15th to December 15th will be this 9-week cycle. And then 17th to 22nd is end of year testing. Then we have our skeleton schedule over the holidays while everyone's gone, so that way you can run great classes. We'll have stuff, and we'll have actually a guide of what people can do at home while they travel, so they're still on your plan. They don't need to go on pause. You are still taking care of them with nutrition and training. And then we have prepping and returning to start the year, because we know that people, luckily, that can afford your memberships also can afford vacations many times. So they're gone, they're coming back on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th. We're not leaving them behind. After the 7th, we'll start the new testing cycle for the year. Okay, hopefully we're all still following along right now, and we're going to go to the dock for testing week, right? This testing week, we're going to start off, we have Fran on the first day. It's going to be a 1 rep max thruster because most people are limited by their ability to produce force, obviously in absolute power and then into strength, speed, and then speed, strength here for the thruster. We get that ceiling high, that means the repetitions take less out of us, right? And I want you to think of this. How many men in your gym have a 200-pound thruster? 1 rep max, 200-pound thruster, right? What the science shows is that under 50% of that, in that rep range, we want them to be able to do thrusters in. So if they can't get about 200 pounds, right, I'd even say really the good ones are 225, 250 that are going to have a good Fran time. And look at the correlation between the ones that can do that, like how it's meant to be expressing that energy system, and how many of them are not. And really for them, if they're, I'd say, unless they're very enduring, if they're under 160, 180 for their 1 rep max and we have them do Fran, that really becomes strength speed endurance, or even CP battery endurance. If someone's like 135 and under for a male, that's really starting to be CP battery because that's 2/3 of their max. Okay, and I'm not saying they can't do Fran. I am saying it's going to give them a little bit different dose response in a longer time. So it's something to look out for. And that's why I'm putting those guides together for you to help navigate that a little easier, to give people the dose they want, the feeling they want, or at least then the extra training they need. Hey, you need more strength. Fair enough. Okay, so we have that, the 1 rep thruster, and then Fran. Day 2, we have a weighted dip. And we're cycling that in because we did some muscle up work, some pressing. So the 1 rep max weighted dip is going to be here. And then an aerobic power workout we're calling tailpipe. I'm trying to name these. Honestly, naming workouts is my probably the thing I need the most improvement on. If you were going to give me coaching, I would say, hey, I'm not great at naming workouts. But it's 3 rounds per time. We are introducing barbell cycling. That is speed strength work. So again, when people say I'm getting strong doing all my barbell cycling, you are getting enduring on the speed strength endurance continuum. And there's nothing wrong with that. These are all parts of fitness. But if we're doing that too much over the year, we actually do lose our ability to produce strength. And so these are things over time. I want to help you communicate to your members and make sure that they understand this, because my belief and what I've seen directly is the more people that understand this in your gym, they don't need to know the Krebs cycle, but they get some of these parts of why you're doing it. They need you more now, not less. They need you more. So it's running, hang cleans, and burpees, kind of a tough weight. We have the weight from Grace that we did last time at Isabel, at 135. We spent a lot of time on our own. Now we're putting it in conditioning because they should make that movement not be heavy singles, right? That would not be cycling. That would be CP battery, right? This should be boom, boom, boom. And they're making this through. 20 burpees is tough. It's a rep range on this. They should be able to hopefully do without stopping at least round 1. Round 2, we know round 3 is at the end. And good aerobic power is what? At the cross section of high end aerobic, bottom of lactic endurance. That's where we want them to stay on that side. Wednesday, 1 rep max deadlift. All right, we're doing that. 5 rep max for our beginners, 1 rep max for our fitness, our performance in sport rather. Last cycle, we didn't deadlift much because we were going to start off here. Again, we did the absolute strength April, May, June, moved it into strength speed. So we did clean extensions to our clean and jerks. Now we're coming back around for basic support. We can always kind of weave those things back together. And then it's going to be either a 2K row or a 10-minute air bike. And this is going to be on the long end of lactic endurance, right? If they went any slower, if they couldn't produce that power, then this would be probably just aerobic for them, right? If they're not able to actually use it. So we have lactic power, increasing complexity, more on Monday in Fran, right? We did last cycle was power clean, burpee stuff that you can kind of grind through. Thrusters and pull-ups are harder. So we've been slowly increasing complexity over the year on these. And now we're stretching out the back end with cyclical again. So it's going to be 2K row. You're going to see some 500-meter row, 1K row test, and then 2K to bring the heat. Those people that maybe have a hard time expressing that on Fran will be able to express that here on the row. You can do air bike too if you want it. Just it's hard to have that many air bikes. That's the jam there. Simple day, let's get after it. Thursday, after the heavy deadlift, again, that is going to be one of the most neurologically taxing things we do. So we are balancing it how? Functional bodybuilding and long aerobic power. You see how we're weaving that? We have a hard, short day on Monday, aerobic power day Tuesday, and some dipping. And then deadlift, heavy hinging, and the lactic endurance, balancing that out with functional bodybuilding on Thursday, single leg, hip and row. So single arm row to balance out all the kipping pull-ups we're doing there, with single arm structural row to have a base of support for that, and single leg hip thrust to balance out the thruster and front squat. This workout here, aerobic power mixed, looks really similar to the alphabet soup we did in the mixed modal constant variance workout we did in April's to June's testing. Here's the difference. There is no rest interval here now. The idea is we should be making these contractions that are a little harder, sustainable, right? These are all movements that if someone's untrained, they get stuck on. But if they can do it, they should be able to move through that. And that's a good sign of aerobic power. CP battery, lactic endurance, high muscle endurance, they get stuck, and there's a place for that. And that'll be tomorrow, right? For today, we want stuff that challenges their lungs with these mixed movements. The good ones will be able to do this at the same pace a runner is able to do, let's say, like a 5K run at. Okay, it should be about the same thing. 8-minute AMRAP, good runner, they're in that range. Run, box jump, wall ball, lunges, dubs, all these movements, the rep range has increased some, but now we're trying to make sure they can do that stuff in a way that they're going straight through, because that is the goal, right? We work the intervals, take the rest out till they've made it good, they've proved that they can handle the pace, they're bought in, go. Now it's time to go. So again, you can tell I love this stuff. Finally, on Friday, we have 1 rep max snatch is a full snatch. We did full clean and jerk last cycle and power snatch. Now we're doing 1 rep max full snatch. Anyone who doesn't want to snatch is going to overhead squat would be absolutely appropriate. 5 rep max 30x1 for our newbies or for fitness. You can always have people out of the hang or power snatch again if you want. Now that's the first part. The second part is going to be 8-minute AMRAP. It is CP battery work. You're going to see this is going to be limited by their CP battery, ability to produce hard contractions, and by muscle endurance. 8 minutes, 30 overhead squats, 25 toes to bar, 20 kipping handstand push-ups. Go ahead and do it this time, it's fine. Sport is a really hard one. It's 30, 30, 30, it's strict. So you're gonna see here, most people can't do 30 overhead squats unbroken. So you're gonna get to 10, 12 maybe dump, 9 dump, and then a 9 and you're through 30. Toes to bar a little less, probably 25 is hard to get through, and then 20 handstand push-ups. Heavy hitters, sure, but for most of our people, this is gonna be complex to do, right? We worked on increasing shoulder strength recently, right? For months and months, big on that. Strict handstand push-ups, increasing overhead squat, increased snatching, increased toes to bar, isolated in density, and now we're putting these pieces together in a hard combination. Most people will be very frustrated by something in this workout. That's fine, that is by design, right? It's a reason why this workout is something that they can get through, get after it. Everyone in the house can probably do 90% of it, and now we're on a day that is gonna have people really go, okay, I need to be dialed in, and we want them dialed in and ready to go. For Saturday, ideally, again, most people aren't coming all 5 days. If so, I would use Saturday morning as a chance to make up one of the tests, right? Just one of the strength tests from the week. That's where it's gonna be, or maybe you pick 1 or 2 that were lighter days that they need to do, or that's the priority day, that'd be fine. Or just a push press, 1 rep max with, if they hit all the tests, push press is gonna be good here for that. It'll be a good balance of front squat, thruster, and then push press there, and not overly technical. But ideally, it'd be a good time to make up a test. And then it's teams of 3 non-testing. We hit all the tests, and it would be a chance for them to just go through a fun Saturday team workout and not have the testing have to go through the weekend. So that's the training cycle. We'll be doing all of these tests on week 9. Sometimes I've done other ones there because we're doing the full annual testing cycle after this. This is going to be the week there, the full week on that December 10th to 15th will be this week. Same format we'll be building up. The middle block will look different there, and you see the other training here is already built out for you. We're doing sumo deadlifts to high reps. We're building out some stuff. It's going to be a great cycle, you guys. I can't wait. Share this with your coaches, please, and make sure everyone's on board. And let's have a great week. Have a great cycle.